Hi, my name is Cesar Marquez, and this is my story. So, last year, things between me and my ex, her name is Ilana Drucker, seemed to be going great. I thought it looked like we were getting back together. We were being very nice to each other, and, you know, things were going good. And this was right before my daughter's birthday in October. And then from one day to the next, she just flipped out on me. She just started being mean and rude and uh, wasn't like her. And I thought something was up. And, anyways, fast forward 3 months later, we didn't really talk after that. We kind of were in an argument and stuff like that. All of a sudden, I get custody papers that she wants to go and I get served with papers. So I'm like, okay. And I told her, I said, why didn't you just talk to me about it? So I tried to talk to her brother. Her brother's a lawyer. And I told him, hey, look, man, I don't want any problems. I said, I just want to see my daughter. I said, let's kind of work this out. So he talks to her and says, okay, well, you guys work it out. And then tell me what you all decide, and then we'll put the papers in. So I call her and I say, hey, let's sit down and talk about it. She doesn't have time that day. Next day, same thing. Next day, another excuse. The next day, another excuse. Doesn't want me to go over, doesn't have a chance to talk to me, nothing. Then, about fifth day of trying, she says, oh, I gave it to my brother, so you talk to him about it. Okay. So I call him and he tells me, oh, well, I don't have anything ready. Probably won't be till this weekend. Mind you, the next Tuesday is our court date, right? So I'm like, or Wednesday, I think it was. It was in February 10th, I believe, or March 10th. So anyways, he gives me the papers that they decided on. I had no input on it the night before, the day before we're about to go into court. So I barely had a chance to read them, and it was all kinds of crazy stuff. I was like, no way. I wasn't gonna. I read the first 2 pages and I was like, this is crazy. So we show up to the Zoom meeting on court, and I'm there, I'm present, and he's there and she's there. And then he requests that we go to a breaker room to go talk, right? So we go into the breaker room and we talk, and there was nothing being settled. It was just them coming at me and telling me all this stuff. And I'm just like, look, we're not getting anywhere here. I said, let's go talk to the judge. So they're like, yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. So we go back and we're supposed to go to this room, right, on Zoom. So I go to the room in the Zoom. She's not there. He's there, and then he takes off, and I'm like, where did they go? And I'm asking the lady in front of me, I said, are you the judge? And she just goes, no. And I said, okay. So I start switching on the Zoom to try to find them. I can't find them anywhere. I call and I text them, and I call them and I text them, and I said, where are you guys at? I'm not anywhere near a judge. I don't know. And my screen is just going blank and blank and blank. And I know they're getting my text messages because we had just talked. And I know they're getting my phone calls because we had just talked. And I'm calling them and calling them and calling them. 45 minutes go by, nothing. Finally, I hang up. They purposely kept me out so that they can talk to the judge. They come back and say, oh, you're only allowed to see your daughter now once a Saturday from 10 a.m. on Saturday to 10 a.m. on Sunday. That's it. Once every 2 weeks. I was like, no. So I'm trying to log on and to get information, and I can't. My passwords, all my phone, my emails, they've all been broken into. My emails from the court have been redirected. I do some digging and I find out that they've been forwarded somewhere else. I don't know where else. It's some weird address on there. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to, you know, get the information I need. So that's when my ex goes to the school and leaves fake court documents, not signed by a judge, nothing, that say that I can't pick up my daughter, that I'm not allowed to be there, whatever. So I show up and they're like, hey, no, we got some documents that say you can't be here. And I'm like, no. And that's not true. I said, I haven't been served with any papers that say anything like that. So they allow me to pick up my daughter. So she shows up, blocks the whole thing, won't let me get her. So the next day, I try and go pick up my daughter, and this freaked me out completely. I go pick her up earlier because I wanted to take her to a therapist to see if a therapist could talk to her, see what's going on. So I go pick her up, and she is afraid of me. Mind you, this has been 2 weeks of my ex blocking me from seeing her, not letting me see her, nothing. I haven't seen her. I hadn't talked to her. I couldn't go over. I couldn't do anything. She's trying to get me arrested when I showed up at her property to inquire about my child. I showed up there one time and I said, look, I'm not here to cause any trouble. I just want to find out about my daughter. And I said, I'm outside. Please come outside, talk to me. A few minutes later, the police show up and saying that I'm harassing her. So I get in my car and I leave. Anyways, come back to this. So the next day I go and I pick her up early from school. And I say, I'm going to take her to a doctor. When I picked her up, my daughter was afraid of me. She was afraid of me. She didn't want to be near me. She hated me. I have been in my daughter's life since she was born almost every single day. I've never been apart from her. I've loved her. I've nurtured her. I was the one who did all the nighttime feedings. I was the one who was there, who changed her diapers. I was the one who put her to sleep. I was the one who read her bedtime stories. I did all that. She did also, but I did most of it. I would say I did 90% of it. And that's not a lie. By no means is that a lie. Anyways, she's never acted this way before with me. I mean, she literally did not want to get near me. She was afraid of me. And I was like, what's wrong, baby? What's wrong? What's going on? So I was like, I definitely have to get her the therapist because something's going on here. I had to physically pick her up, kicking and screaming, and put her in my car. And she's kicking and screaming the whole time. I start showing her pictures. I start telling her things about how we were just a couple weeks ago. I start showing her videos of how we were laughing on Christmas. And slowly she starts to snap out of it. 3 hours later, it was like nothing happened. And the whole time she's telling me, my head hurts, my head hurts. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Something's going on with my daughter. Like, has she been brainwashed? Has she been emotionally abused? What? So I try to go get a therapist. I call a therapist and I tell her what's going on. The next day, she completely ignores me. Ilana has a therapist. I tried to talk to him. He won't talk to me. So I'm getting blocked everywhere I go. Fast forward a little bit more. March 23rd, I go to the school to try to go pick her up. And she's there and she's blocking me. And I said, there's no court order. There's nothing preventing me from seeing my daughter. And all of a sudden, she says, well, let's call the police. Call the police. HISD show up and they say, hey, who dropped off my daughter? I said, I did. I dropped her off this morning. I had gotten her the night before. They said, okay, well, she gets to go home with you according to our policy. So she was fighting that. Nuh-uh. She was kicking and screaming. Then her ex-husband shows up from like 10 years ago, and this guy has hated us. He called in a bomb threat when we tried to have a birthday party for her. He's punched out my tires like 9 times. He's called C.P.S. on me 5 times. And I'm just like, what the hell is he doing here? What's going on? Why are you doing this? Why won't you let me take my daughter? Nothing. So during this whole argument, during this whole thing, all of a sudden she goes to the bathroom with her phone and comes back out, and C.P.S. calls out of the blue. And they're saying, no, she has to go with her mom. I was like, and the police were, hey, she already called. Anyways, they said the C.P.S. director's name was Olivet Jimenez. And I'm like, I know that name from somewhere. Well, sure enough, it's a school teacher there. And I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? So then the next day, I go pick up my daughter early. And I'm like, I got to take her to a therapist. I got to take her somewhere. I got to go figure this out. And big mistake. My daughter says, hey, let's stop by mom's house. I need to pick up a few things. I don't have my iPad. I don't have anything. So I said, okay. I shouldn't have gone. I knew I shouldn't have gone, but I went anyways. And I thought, if she's there, maybe I could talk to her. Like I said, I love her. I love Ilana. I've always have. And a lot of things came to light during this whole thing. And I think that she's being emotionally abused, or she's being brainwashed, because here's the backstory on her ex-husband. He is certifiably a malignant narcissist, and he's emotionally abused his daughter, and he hates me. He tried to put in a court order preventing me from being there when my child was born. Like I said, it's called C.P.S. on me 5 times. The reason he called C.P.S. on me is because when his little girl was about 3 years old, me and Ilana were making dinner, and I went to go use the bathroom, and me and her had already bonded, and she was sticking to me like glue, and she came and followed me. I had the door closed, but I didn't lock it, and she opens the door. I was using the bathroom. I was peeing. I was facing away from her. I wasn't facing towards her. She didn't see anything. And I quickly called Ilana to come and get her. Well, something happened. I guess she told her dad that or something. And he went on this thing that I was sexually abusing her, that I was a sexual predator. He called C.P.S. He went to the school, or when she started going to school, he went over there, told all the principals, told all the teachers, told all their friends, anyone he can talk to, that I was a sexual predator. So I was like, whatever. And then we have a birthday party for her when she turns about 4, and he calls in a bomb threat. And he uses my phone number to do it. He had one of those hide your phone apps or phone numbers. So this guy's just trying to make me look bad, which is relevant information, because the things that are happening now are things that are similar to the things that he's done in the past. And that's why I know this has a lot to do with him. So let's go back. March 23rd, right? C.P.S. calls and says she has to go with her mom back home. Fine. I go pick her up the next day, blah, blah, blah. I go to the house. She wanted to pick up a few things. She's there, and she will not let me leave with her again. She says, no, she's staying here. I don't want her to go with you. And I'm like, what is going on, Ilana? Why are you treating me like this? I said, I've never ever seen you this way. Like, what? And I say, no, Leah's coming with me. I pick her up, I put her in my car, and she's attacking me and fighting me and pushing me and shoving me out of the way, won't let me put her or drive off. And I get in the driver's seat and I'm trying to put my key in the ignition, and she is on top of me, hitting me, won't let me get off. And I said, something's going on. Something's going on. And I take her phone away. And she is screaming bloody murder to get her phone back. And I knew there was something with the phone. And so I broke the phone. I did. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But anyways, lo and behold, about 10 minutes later, boom, C.P.S. shows up. Now, for C.P.S. to call the school magically without them knowing what's going on, and then for them to just show up the next day, that's extremely not out of the ordinary. First, they have to find out who you are, where you live, all that. They didn't have any of that information. So how did they know where she lived? Right? So she shows up, and it's this African-American lady with long blonde braids in her hair, and she's driving a fully loaded Ford Explorer, like brand new. And I'm like, okay, that's like a $60,000 car. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about C.P.S. I mean, but that's pretty hard to be able to afford a $700-800 car payment on a C.P.S. worker's salary. I mean, there's no offense. I'm just saying, good job. Maybe she does something else on the side. I don't know. I'm not trying to say that, but that was one red flag. And so she gets down. She doesn't show me ID. She doesn't show me her badge. Nothing. She goes in to go talk to her for about a couple minutes, comes back outside and says, I'm going to take your statement. Mind you, I'm the one who called C.P.S. to begin with. I called C.P.S. because my daughter had came home. This was before all this happened, with her iPad. She wanted me to make room for Minecraft. Minecraft's a large game, and I downloaded it to my iTunes, to my phone, and I started going through the files to see what I could delete. This was supposed to be her iPad, not Ilana's. Everything was supposed to be erased, and we all thought it was. But I found files. I found text messages. I found everything. So I'm looking through all this stuff, and I start seeing guys she's cheated me with. I start seeing text messages about her ex-husband that I never knew. And then I start seeing naked pictures of her other daughter getting out of the bathtub or out of the shower, and he had taken them, and text messages between them two, and she's saying how inappropriate it is. Why is he taking those pictures? And he's laughing about it. I start asking my daughter, I said, hey, has anything gone on with this man, Ron? Yeah, he picks me up sometimes, won't let me go. I've told him to stop, gets really close to my face, burps in my face. I'm like, what? I start telling Ilana about that. She just blows it off like it's nothing. I called the C.P.S. on that afterwards. I never got a callback. I never got anything from C.P.S. That lady that was there, her name is Evon Armagon, had nothing to do with that. I thought it was. I thought I was the one who called C.P.S., so I thought that's why she was there. But no. So anyways, she had gone inside to talk to her for a few minutes. She comes back outside, and she says, okay, I'm going to take your statement. The whole time, she is telling me, I got to hurry this up. I got to hurry this up because I got to get to the next family. I'm like, excuse me? I said, your job is to sit here, and you're dealing with my family right now. She gives me about 15 minutes to tell my story. I'm like rushing through it. and telling her all this stuff that I'm telling you guys. And then she goes back inside. Ilana had taken my keys during the struggle. She took my car keys and my house key, my apartment key, and my mailbox key, which I've yet to get back. Both my apartment and my mailbox key are gone. And that's very important because my apartment was broken into. And the files that I had on my laptop, guess what? Deleted. Actually, my hard drive was stolen out of my laptop. The information I had on my Ring doorbell was erased. The information I had on my my Wise camera was erased. So they covered their tracks. Anyways, I'm ringing the doorbell. They're inside for like an hour. And I'm like, I thought she had to hurry up. I'm ringing my doorbell. I'm trying to get out of there. I don't have Leah anymore. I'm trying to get out of there, and I'm like, I'll just fight this in court. I'll just deal with it later. I didn't want to be there anymore. Well, I'm ringing the doorbell. I'm knocking on the door. I'm calling out to them. Nobody comes out, and I can hear them talking. This goes on for like 30, 40 minutes. All of a sudden, the police show up. Boom. They say that I'm harassing her. I broke her phone. Boom. They put me in the back of the cop car. I'm handcuffed. A little while later, guess what? The ex-husband shows up. He's there and he's laughing and he's grinning and he's smiling and he's enjoying all of it. And they start going through my truck and they start, and then all of a sudden she comes out. Ilana and the C.P.S. worker come out. And the C.P.S. worker comes up to me while I'm handcuffed and says, you need to go get a mental health evaluation. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? A mental health evaluation? Why do I need to go get a mental health evaluation? I said, I didn't say anything to you crazy. I said, I didn't look crazy. I said, all I was telling you was about this man that I reported. She says, no, you need to sign this or you're going to go to jail. I said, I'm not going to sign that. They start putting pressure on me. I'm like, no, I don't want to sign that. Anyways, Ilana's calling for my head. She's out there and saying, arrest him, take him to jail. And her ex-husband is there saying the same thing. And I'm like, dude, I'll pay you for the phone. Like, I'm sorry I broke your phone, but there's a good reason for that. In the files, I saw something about how they're manipulating the phone and they broke into my phone. They've broken into my phone 4 times. And this is confirmed with T-Mobile. It's been hacked into. Stuff has been deleted. My Google Drive has been deleted. My iCloud has been deleted. All my emails, everything. And I thought this guy has something to do with that. Ever since the bomb threat, and he used my phone number, I said, this guy's manipulating something on the phone. I'm not crazy. I'm not being paranoid. It's an actual fact. T-Mobile has said, they actually said, we've never seen anything like this. You've like really been hacked like several times. Okay? So, they let me go. Police let me go. During this time, I had my backpack with me. Ilana tries to reach in my bag and take out my laptop. And luckily, a police officer told her, hey, what are you doing? That's not yours. Put that back. So I got my bag. I got everything. I left without my apartment key, without my mailbox key, just my car key. Anyways, next day I call the C.P.S. lady. Doesn't answer. Following day. I call her almost every day for the next 3 weeks. She finally answers and says, you need to go to this place called Monarch Wellness. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, that's where you need to go get your mental health evaluation. I said, I'm not getting no mental health evaluation. I said, if I'm going to go anywhere, I said, I'm a veteran. I'm going to go to the VA. No, you can't go there. It's not going to count. Anyways, I said, no, ma'am, I'm not going to do it. I said, I need to see your ID and your badge. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. I said, okay. Anyways, we're getting into an argument. I hang up on her. About 2 days later, I call her back. I said, where are you at right now? I said, I want to go down to your office. I had found out that her office was at 2500 Bolsover Street here in Houston. So I told her, where are you at? She's like, I'm in my office. I said, okay, I'll be right down there. No. You can't come here. You can't come here. I said, why? You can't. I'm very busy and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she's like, I could put my supervisor on the phone. I said, no, that's okay. I'll speak to both of you when I get there. So she starts going crazy and I just hang up on her. So I go down to Bolsover Street. I get in. Nobody can find her. Nobody knows exactly where the C.P.S. office is. They won't let me up there. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting in the lobby. I'm telling the receptionist what's going on. About 30 minutes later, she comes in through the front door. Instead of the elevators, she was in the office. She would have came down the elevators. No, she comes in through the front door. And she says, come on, Mr. Marquez. And we go into a little office downstairs in the lobby. That never takes me upstairs to the C.P.S. office. And she says, I'm here to address your concerns. I'm like, can I see your badge and your ID? No. I said, okay. I said, have you looked into this man? Doesn't want to answer me. I said, you haven't done anything in these past 3 weeks to investigate this man. Your daughter's fine. That's what she tells me. Your daughter's fine. I said, so what are we doing here? She's like, well, I'm here to address your concerns. I'm here to take your statement. I said, didn't you already take my statement? I said, what was those 15 minutes for that you gave me? I said, where are the notes on that? Oh, I have them and filed away. She says something like that. She talks exactly like that. And I'm like, okay. I said, okay, then let's redo the statement. So I'm telling her everything all over again about this man, everything that I already told you guys. And I start asking her again for her badge, for her ID. And she starts getting irate and she starts getting angry. And I said, look, you need to investigate this guy. I said, this is what's going on. My daughter's not safe. And she says, no, you need to go get this mental health evaluation. And I'm like, look, lady, I'm not crazy. Okay? I'm telling you what's going on. Anyways, she says, goodbye, sir. She doesn't want to talk to me anymore. So she leaves. I leave. That was almost a month ago. I've only texted her since then. I haven't talked to her. I've only seen her. She hasn't texted me back. Nothing. She did text me one time saying, you need to go get this mental health evaluation. I go down there. I go down to the mental health evaluation and I'm like, this place is weird. And I'm starting to fill out this paperwork and I'm like, no, I get a really bad feeling in my gut. And I'm like, I need to get out of here. This does not feel right. I'm going to sign these papers. I'm going to go in there. They're going to say he's too emotional or he's too upset or whatever and have any excuse to not let me see my daughter ever again. So I flew out of there. I didn't even give in any papers, nothing. I have not heard from that lady. I have not heard from the C.P.S. lady. I've been calling her. I've been texting her. I've been telling her, hey, you're not real. You're going to go to jail. This is all a ruse. This is fake. Nothing. I've called her supervisor. And when I talk to her supervisor, guess what? She doesn't want to show me ID or a badge either. And I'm like, this cannot be happening. This is not possible. C.P.S. does not handle matters this way. I said, this has got to be somebody paid to do their dirty work or somebody hired. Anyways, today I go to another C.P.S. office. They give me the phone numbers for her supervisor and the supervisor of that. And guess what? Those phone numbers were completely different than the phone numbers I got when I visited Bolsover Street. Completely different. So I talked to one of the ladies today. She said she was the supervisor of the supervisor of the supervisor. So she said she was going to look into it and for me to fill out a paper for internal affairs. So I'm going to. But right now, what I need to bring awareness to, or what I need to talk about, is first of all, this C.P.S. agent, that either she's real and she's been bribed to do all this, because I cannot believe that C.P.S. would have this kind of policy or would not train their staff good enough to be like, okay, if you talk to somebody for 15 minutes and you feel like they need a mental health evaluation, you can go ahead and just ruin their lives and tell them they need a mental health evaluation and they have to stay away from their kid. I don't think that that's the way. I know that they have to have better policies and procedures than that, especially when I didn't do anything. When I've asked her before, I said, what made you believe that I needed a mental health evaluation? And she can't answer me. She couldn't answer me. So I'm calling her out. I'm calling her out and I'm fighting this thing. And either she's real and she's been bribed, or she's not real at all. And I have a funny feeling she's not real. But anyways, so please fight corrupt C.P.S. worker Evon Armagon. I'm calling for her resignation because I haven't seen my daughter. I haven't held my daughter. I haven't kissed my daughter. I haven't even held her hand or talked to her in 2 months. And I have been in her life almost every single day. And this is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. I love my daughter more than anything in the world. I love all my daughters more than anything in the world. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Am I a sinner? Yes. Have I cheated? Yes. Have I lied? Yes. Have I committed adultery? Yes. Do I believe in God? Yes. Do I believe that God has forgiven me? Yes. Do I live a life now that serves God? Yes. So I wasn't always good, but now I serve God. I go to church, and I'm just praying that He is going to find me an answer to all this. And I pray for this lady. I pray for the C.P.S. lady that whatever is going on, that she turn away, that God touches her. And I pray for my ex. And I hope that God puts her hand of healing on her and restores her and heals her mind, because I don't think this is her. I don't know why she's acting this way, but I love her and I care about her very much no matter what. And I even pray for her ex-husband, because that's what God would want us to do. And I pray that God restores him. He used to be a doctor. He got in trouble. I don't know exactly what happened, but he lost his license. And if he can hear me and he can see this, I'm not your enemy. I'm your brother. I'm your brother through God. And I know that this is not what God intended for you guys. This is not your purpose. I know that God created us for better things, and that's to heal, that's to mend families, to be together. And I know that God one day will have us all break bread together. And I'm just praying for that. And I'm just praying every day. And so, but unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. And the truth of the matter is that my daughter has suffered emotional abuse. That happened twice. Actually, that happened 3 times where I went to go pick her up and she completely acted like she didn't know me, screaming at the top of her lungs. She called me an a-hole, which she's never done. And I'm just thinking, this is not my daughter at all. I don't know what's going on. Well, you can look at this up, but people that have suffered from narcissistic personality disorder, especially people that are malignant narcissists, end up trying to control their victims. They emotionally abuse them to the point where they break them down so severely that they end up kind of brainwashing them in a way and having them on their side and alienating all the family around them. And that's a whole other thing that I haven't told you guys about. And this video is already getting too long, but I wanted to go ahead and just say this initial statement because this is what's going on. What I need to do is I need people to help me to spread the word, to fight, to call C.P.S. for me. I've called them millions of times to ask for this lady, what's going on, to ask for resignation, because all they're doing is breaking up a family. This is evil. This is not of God. This is just something that is just plaguing my family, and I'm asking for your help. These are their names. I'm asking to investigate Ronald Alan Charles and Ilana Drucker. For those of you who know Ilana Drucker, I'm not against her. I love her very much, and I'm not against her. I just think that she's been emotionally abused, and she has. I saw text messages between her and her ex-husband for the past 10 years where he has just broken her down, and emotionally abused her. And I think she's just gotten to the point now where she's brainwashed. And it sounds crazy, but look online and look at the experts. There's one lady that's an expert, and she will tell you that it is possible, that is what people do. And his daughter, Mila, had suffered that because me and her had the best relationship. And when I started living with Ilana and we had a family together, this man would just not let up. So he used his daughter to start hating me, to start putting pressure on her. And in the text messages would tell her, this is all your fault. This is all your fault. If you were a better mother, if you wouldn't have him there. So she starts hating me, his daughter, which hurts me severely because I love her like she's my own daughter. And I've loved her for years. And I will always love her no matter what, because I know none of this is her fault. So then finally, Ilana tells me one day, you need to leave because I have to choose between you and my daughter. And I found text messages from when she's broken up earlier before this between her and her friends. And she's saying, I had to break up with Caesar because Ron would not let up. He would not leave me alone. So I know this is of him. I know. And so I'm asking you guys to please investigate Ronald Alan Charles and Ilana Drucker. I think she's a victim. I don't think that she is purposely trying to do this. But please investigate them. And this is for sexual and emotional abuse. I'm not saying that he has done anything sexual. I'm just saying those pictures are pretty inappropriate. And the emotional abuse, I am saying. I know that for a fact. I know the emotional abuse is there. Mila never acted that way. For 2 years, this happened until I finally got kicked out. And then all of a sudden, she's fine and she's back with her mom. And then everything was going great until last October. And then all of a sudden, she just started going bananas on me. She had always promised me that she would never keep me away from my daughter. They've kept me. I didn't go to court this last time because they erased my information from the court. My emails were erased. Everything's been erased. My iCloud's been erased. Everything that I had on them. I do have some files left on some zip drives, but they magically got encrypted, like with different file extensions. So my laptop's been hacked into, all this information has been changed, and I'm just at the point where all I can do is talk to you guys to help me. They got into my bank accounts. I had a small business that I ran for successfully for the past 6 years. All my contacts were deleted. I couldn't make any phone calls. I haven't really worked in the past 3 months. I was facing eviction, and I finally just started praying really hard. And God's been blessing me with a few jobs here and there. I've had to go to the food pantry to get food. I've had to pawn or sell almost everything I have just to get by. But thank God that finally I'm starting to, looks like I'm starting to get some of my clients back. There was an order put in to where I could at least talk to my little girl on Saturday for 1 hour a week, which I think is ridiculous. They're calling that I get a mental health evaluation and a drug test. I have no problems with the drug test. I don't do any drugs, anything like that. But it's my understanding that when a court asks for this, or when C.P.S. asks for it, that both parents be given mental health evaluations and both parents be given drug tests, not just one. Like, this is just completely one-sided. So I'm fighting all this, and I've called the Houston Lawyers Association. I can't afford a lawyer. I've called legal aid. I've filled out applications. Nobody has gotten back to me. I filled out a burglary with the Houston Police Department. This was over a month ago. I have not had one investigator call me, nothing to check anything. This is the C.P.S. card she gave me. It looks like it was printed off a photocopier. Now, I've gotten C.P.S. cards before from when he's called before, and they were nice in color, embossed, everything, not photocopied off of a printer in black and white. So I don't think this card is real, but I could be wrong. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm not crazy. I do not have a mental health problem. I do not need a mental health evaluation. And I'm asking, number one, for your prayers to help me in this situation, to pray for me, to pray for my family. And I'm asking you guys to call C.P.S. Call C.P.S. and help me find out what's going on. Call C.P.S. on this man, Ronald Charles, so that they can investigate him. His name is Ronald Alan Charles. Please, please help me. This is all I have left. I don't know what else to do at this point except try to get help, try to get awareness. And if this is how C.P.S. conducts their business, then they need some oversight, because this is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. They are affecting families. The only person that is suffering here is my daughter. How can you take a daughter away from her father when he's been there ever since day one and wants to be there for her and wants to see her grow up and wants to nurture her? You go to get child support and you go to fight custody when the guy doesn't want to do that. I do. I cry almost every day for my daughter. You know? It has been so hard. It has been so hard not seeing her little face, not playing with her, we would make crafts together, not doing anything, not watching TV, not ordering pizzas, not doing anything. It has been the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. But it's made me think a lot about my life. And was I always a good father? No. To this little girl, yes, I've been a good father. To my other two girls, no. Unfortunately, my first daughter, I was very, very young. I was very, very stupid, and I wasn't there for her the way I should have been. And I regret that. I really do. And I've been trying to make it up for her. And my other child, my middle child, whom she thinks I hate, but I don't. I love her very much. I should have fought her mom harder. I should have taken her away from all of this. And I did. I tried for a while. I tried, but I was living in Laredo at the time and she was living here in Houston, and it was just hard. I would come up here to come and visit her and I couldn't find them anywhere. And I wasn't making very much money at the time. But hey, I saved her from adoption. Her mom tried to give her up for adoption. I didn't even know that she was pregnant, and I got a lawyer that day with the help of my dad, and we stopped it. And I tried to be there for her. So I tried with my second daughter to really be there for her. And I know I could have tried harder. But comes along my daughter Leah, and I said, that's it. I said, I changed my whole life around. I said, I'm going to be a good dad. I'm going to be there for her. And I have. Ever since she was born, I have. And I love my daughter more than anything. And I love my other girls, and I love Mila more than anything. They are my life. They are everything to me. So I'm asking you to please, please, please help me so that I can get this story out. I can get awareness. Maybe I could get on the news. I don't know, but I need people to know about this because it isn't fair. It is not fair that with the signing of a signature or with some misguided employee that people could get away with this. It's horrible, and I don't understand it, and I'm just asking God to help me through it and to help me find answers. So please help me save my daughter Leah, and possibly Ilana if she's going through some emotional situation here. And that's it. I'm going to keep making these videos, and tomorrow I'm taking these signs and I'm going to go stand in a corner and protest and ask for her resignation and ask for some answers. And if anybody wants to join me, I'll be at the corner at Post Oak and Belfort over there by the Kroger. And I want to just spread the word. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. I know it's very long, but please help my daughter.